I'm not going to lie. That was honestly one of the worst video game experiences of my life that I've ever had.
Well, you got humbled?
I mean, you've played against me. You know what I mean? You've seen me play like when we played in Kentucky. I mean, I'm not like horrible. Don't get me wrong. I'm not like the greatest player of all time in
I
college football
smashed you.
26. I don't know about that. But I mean, I'm telling you, I literally couldn't do anything. It was like, do you remember when Tony played that game after I beat him and then he was like getting screwed over by the PC, by the computer that he was playing?
No, he was just hammered. He was just making mistakes.
But okay, my point is like he was, but do you know what I mean? Like where sometimes you play against the computer and there's like you experienced it when you played, what was it, Oklahoma, and there was some weird glitch.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like sometimes EA F's you over. Sometimes EA has an ideal winner in mind before the game starts. Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's almost like the game has, and I know it kind of has some of that built in with like momentum. You know what I mean? Like it does give like swings and stuff to try to make it more realistic. It just honestly felt like I couldn't do anything. Like every time I'd get any ounce of momentum, he would get like an interception or like he kept getting like pick sixes and weird stuff. And it was like the weirdest plays, you know what I mean? Where like, yeah, some of it's me making mistakes. So I get that. But then one of them was like, I hit a punt or something and it went super short. He tried to fair catch and didn't, and then somehow ran it back. It was like the weirdest, like, and it was like one of the first plays of the game. So Yikes. It was just like, okay.
Well, and I think sometimes on the college football game that the home team stadium polls, home field advantage gets like really, really out of hand. Like it's almost like an impossible feat to overcome the home field advantage sometimes. So I can empathize with that. I've had those games where it's just like, dude, I have to literally be perfect just to like keep it close, you know, like there's no chance I could win this game if I made like one mistake. Yeah. That's my biggest beef with college football, the video game. And I really hope all they need to do is just introduce a tuner, right? Like just let us tune it down a little bit.
Yep.
If people want it to be that insane and that crazy, then like, cool, leave it all the way up. But I would be cool if can we just knock it down to like 80% of what it is? I don't need it to go away, but it's actually insane. If you're playing a really good team and a well-known team, the stadium pulse is ridiculous on that game.
Yeah, they're trying to make you feel the home field advantage, but they've almost gone like way too far where it's like, okay, I mean, I can't see any of the buttons I'm throwing to. Like, right. All right, man. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
I understand like if an occasional hot route doesn't go through because of the noise. But to not be able to even know what button to press to throw to a specific wide receiver is actually crazy. Because like in real life, you're going to know how to throw the football to that receiver, right?
Right. Yeah,
I don't know. See, some of it is out of hand. And I guess some people probably like that. But I would like to tone it down a little bit. It's so hard to play a competitive football game like that when only one person is having those struggles.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I thought the game got honestly worse from 25 to 26. It was very weird.
I feel like I have adapted to the new game to where now I'm like, okay, I just understand the game and that the quirks that it has, and I don't mind it. But when it first came out, I definitely felt that way. So it's probably true that it almost got worse. I feel like in ways, some of it feels smoother, and in other ways, it feels quirkier, like where there's just weird stuff that happens more often.
Yeah, it's not like the gameplay. It's just like glitchy. That's the biggest concern. There's weird glitches. There's odd animations and stuff that happen at weird times. You know, like your player would just like be floating and shit when you get tackled. Just the glitching kills me. The gameplay is fine. I think the gameplay, I don't have an issue with the gameplay, but I don't know, the glitches are what kills me.
Well, you know what? I just took down the powerhouse of Buffalo in college football, 74-0. I had like,
wow.
I think my quarterback had like 7 touchdowns, and my running back had like 6 or 7 also, because like some of them were passes to the running back. I'm like, dude, what the hell is this? They had 41 plays and only 34 yards. They literally averaged less than 1 yard per play.
Okay. Jeez. Okay. The boys up in Buffalo can't play.
Yeah. Well, you know, the Wolverines, they're slinging balls and slinging bodies.
Well, I honestly feel like since I play the computer, my next game, it's going to be like 100-0 because I'm literally going to take my aggression out on whoever. I don't even remember who it is. It's like some random team.
Hell yeah. Well, hey man, before we dive in today, did you see The most random thing that I've seen on the internet this past week was Logan Paul and Tom Brady getting into a beef about how like what caliber of athletes WWE wrestlers are. Did you see that that little commentary that they had there?
So I saw a very brief clip about it. Like, I didn't watch the actual podcast. I just saw one small clip where like Tom Brady was chirping him and he said something like, wasn't about like flag football, where he was like, wow, you'd have to have like some actual athletes out there. And he's like, wait, what? And he's like, I can do backflips. And you do backflips?
Yeah,
Like, there
I
was like
know.
a
It's
little
like,
bit of, that's what I saw.
yeah, he was just like, yeah, I mean, you guys are like, you're athletic, I guess, but like it's cute what you do, but you're not like real athletes. He like literally said it's cute what you do. The funniest thing was Logan Paul, I think, said something, maybe fact check me on this, but he said something to the effect of like, bro, I was all pro football in high school. And like, that is a flex, but it's not really a flex when you say it to Tom Brady out of all people, the GOAT.
Yeah.
But it is funny though, because like I think they both have some points. The fact that like even though WWE is scripted, the stuff that they do in that ring is freakishly athletic. And most, if not all, football players would not be able to do any of the stuff that Logan Paul does. Love him or hate him, he is like a freak athlete. He does WWE really well. But also, I don't think Logan Paul could make it in the NFL playing football either. So like there's some give and take there, but just not something that was on my radar to just see chirping back and forth between Tom Brady and Logan Paul. And then it seemed like after the podcast episode, then it like got worse. Like throughout the week, they started saying more things about it. Like a few days later, it was just really random.
Part of me is like, I know Tom Brady is like, obviously he's a very competitive guy, but like, I always wonder when I see things like that, if it's like scripted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where like,
Yep.
They had a little side discussion before it started and they were like, he's just like, well, I'm going to give you some crap about this or whatever. And, you feel free to chirp back at me. And so not like it's, like, I mean, when I say scripted, I mean more so it's like planned, where they were like, oh, like, wouldn't it be funny if we, went back and forth about X? I mean, I don't know. It could be super real, but I kind of always wonder.
This is a situation where I could absolutely see something like that being scripted for the benefit of Logan Paul, because he has recently signed a more of a full-time deal with wrestling. So he's doing it like every week now instead of like, several times a year.
Yeah.
And I think the general beef in the wrestling community with him is, first of all, his past is a little controversial. So some fans don't really want him around. And then the other beef was that he wasn't there every week, but he was still getting like title shots occasionally. And so I think that this is kind of like allowing him a chance to like be an advocate for wrestling and like kind of be a defender of that culture. But also he's a heel, like he's a bad guy. And so to have him kind of beefing with like a notable person like Tom Brady could almost generate like more heat for when he's actually like in the arenas cutting promos. So I feel like it could have definitely been scripted, and it could be to the benefit of Logan Paul. I don't know how it really would benefit Tom Brady at all, but he doesn't need any benefit. I mean, his life is awesome.
I mean, he just gets trending online, right? I mean, it's just more like coverage, I guess, from something like that. So,
hey, and Logan Paul sold a Pokemon card for $16.5 million on Sunday. So there's that as well.
Wow. Didn't he like scam people with NFTs?
Yeah, there is that. And I don't know the details. I'm not qualified to talk about it, but certainly is something that people talk about. Yeah.
I feel like I keep seeing not just about him, but just about, everyone's like revisiting that topic. And they're like, remember when everyone said these were going to be worth millions of dollars?
Back then, I was like, what do you mean? This is just like an image. Like, it's just like a computer. Like, someone made this on Photoshop. What do you mean this is going to like grow exponentially in its value over time? Like, what? Those NFTs are worth not shit now. Like, they all completely devalued.
It didn't make any logical sense. And I was like, I mean, okay, I guess this is a thing. But, I didn't understand it at all. Like, and I'm not being like a boomer. I was just like, I understood the concept, but I was like, I don't know why this is relevant right now or how this is worth any money.
Yeah, I never understood it. We have friends who can go make images like that, and I don't understand how it would become like a currency over time, but whatever. Yeah. Glad I didn't jump on that one.
Well, I mean, speaking of jumping on that one, if you haven't already, welcome in to the Single Barrel Sports Podcast. Make sure to jump on that subscribe, follow, or like button and check out singlebarrelsports.com, baby, for some merch and or to find all of our stuff.
Hell yeah. And if you guys like short form, you don't want to listen to us yapping like we're doing right now, well, we put out short form content pretty much every day. So check out our TikTok and YouTube, our Instagram, and you can get us in bite sizes to where you can watch it while you're on the toilet.
or while you're having a bite to eat.
There you go. Yep. Then maybe that's a little more appropriate. Yep. More palatable.
Or both. I know, Scott, you do that sometimes. So
hey, now, not on the toilet.
You never know. But I don't know. I do. So you asked an interesting question, and I have an interesting question back for you that I saw on the internet.
All right, let's go.
I've kind of been contemplating, and I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. So the question is, what professional sport do you think you could fake being a pro for like 5 to like an hour? They said like 5 minutes or something, but I feel like that's way too short. Let's call it like an hour.
So like, do you have to actually be doing the sport then in some capacity, or do you just got to pretend like, okay.
Yeah, like imagine you're like on TV, it's televised. And what professional sport do you think you could fake and people would believe that you were actually a professional in?
Depending on the time frame, there's a couple of answers we could go with here. I think the more legitimate one, although I'm not in excellent shape for this right now, would be wrestling. I wrestled in high school and I was pretty natural at it. I was very good. And I feel like there's a lot of moves and like easier moves and exercises that you can do that like I still to this day would be very comfortable doing, even as an out of shape mid-30s guy. So yeah, I think if there's a camera on me, I could easily do some shoots and I could do some rollouts, and I could do some of the warm-ups and a few of the moves. I could do some cradles, and there's certain things. But yeah, well, I mean,
maybe not for an hour though, right?
I would gas out after like 5 minutes maximum. Okay, maybe not even that long. Wrestling drains you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I would
maybe
have to
5 minutes is appropriate.
Yeah, just hopping around. Like one of the warm-ups is just like side hopping around the circle. I could do some of that for a few minutes. I could do the little shoots at nobody, like just warming up the legs. That kind of stuff I could do for several minutes. But yeah, if I was actually wrestling, maybe like a minute. I mean, it literally drains you so fast. Otherwise, the other one would just be me just like throwing passes on the sideline to a wide receiver to warm up their hands or warm up my arm. Like, I'm not, you put me out on the field standing up next to actual players. There's no way in hell I look like I could actually be doing that. But I can throw a spiral. I can throw a good football. So if I'm just only throwing passes, playing catch and not playing actual football, I could maybe pass for a little bit.
Backup QB.
Backup's a stretch. How about like scout team replacement QB, scout team alternate QB. Yeah.
Phillip Rivers. You're just Phillip Rivers.
Yes. Yep. I'm actually going to go interview for the Bills head coaching job today. What about you? Now I got to hear this. What would yours be?
Oh man. I mean, again, I think of the time frame. I mean, 5 minutes is not a lot of time. An hour, that'd be very difficult to fake anything being professional, to be honest. So maybe 5 minutes is actually the sweet spot based on the original question I saw. But mine would probably be, the two that come to mind would be either football or golf. Yeah. And I'm not clearly that good at golf, so by no means am I anywhere near a pro. But I feel like for about 5 minutes, if you were to get me where I had like a good shot or two, and you know what I mean? Like you're viewing like one or two shots where like I actually hit it pretty good, which is not very often. I could probably fake like half a hole for that 5 minutes of like, oh, this guy's like, oh, he's like one of the whatever up and coming amateur guys or something.
Well, we could do some side cuts, some cutouts to you on the driving range, just powering a couple of heavy drives, and then go back to you out on the actual hole and really make a production out of it here.
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone would buy it if they saw my swing though. I mean, I don't have a beautiful swing. It's a shorter swing, but
I've seen you rip it pretty far though on the drive. I mean, I've seen you drive it decent distance before.
That's where I'm thinking like a one shot. If I had a good shot for, a couple minute time frame, it could be like a fake of a pro sport. Football is a little harder. Like obviously, if I played football, I'd probably get demolished in the NFL. I mean, I'm not small by any means. You know what I mean? I think I kind of honestly, from a weight and height perspective.
Listen, you're 225, bitch. You're not Tone. I really hope Tony listens to this.
He's probably laughing right now as he heard that. So, I mean, could I probably look the part a little bit? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like a big ripped guy, but I'd probably just like blend in with some of the like below average players. Maybe
just stand in with the rest of the really white jerseys that haven't touched the grass at all.
Yeah, or the kickers or something.
There we go. Yeah. Dude, okay, this is so off topic, but I had a buddy who was a D1 scholarship punter in college, and it's so crazy to hear how kickers and punters warm up. Basically, like when they have practice, you know how like normal football practice, you're out there for like hours and you do all these drills and whatnot.
Yeah.
Kickers and punters, they basically have like X number of kicks that they have to do or X number of punts they have to do. And that is their practice. They just do it themselves. And when they're done, they're just done. Like they can just leave at the college level. And I'm sure the pros this way too. So he was like, yeah, I would have to go out and get like 50 punts of like whatever yards, like they would have to go beyond a certain distance and you'd have to do 50 of them. And that would be his practice. And he was like, yeah, I would go out there. I would run around the field twice, do my 50 punts, and then just hit the weight room. And he was just jacked all of a sudden. Like this dude was like way bigger than I've ever seen him. He's like, dude, all I do is lift. I don't spend any time at practice. Like I'm out there for like 20, 30 minutes and then I'm just lifting weights like every day.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, not a bad gig. Not a bad job there.
I mean, yeah, if that's your coach's mentality, you know, I don't know if all coaches or all programs are like that, but that seems like a pretty nice gig to have.
Yeah. I played the wrong position, I think, when I was going through schooling, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I kicked the ball in my backyard, but it's not very far. So
I was the backup punter to him in high school, actually. So I was close.
Wow.
I almost made it.
Yeah. I don't know. I played I didn't actually play soccer, but yeah, kicking footballs is not my forte. Let's put it that way.
That's reasonable.
So, but did you see anything that was going on with the Winter Olympics recently? I mean, there's been some, I'll be honest, I haven't watched a ton of the Winter Olympics, so I'm not like sitting here claiming to be like a huge fan, but there's actually been some pretty interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, there's been a lot of big storylines. I think the first big one that I saw was with Lindsey Vonn, that skier who had like the torn ACL. And it was just like, I'm just going to ski anyway. And I don't know all the details of this, but her first run, I think she had like a good run and like it was fine. Like she actually had a good run. And then I don't know, like maybe it was a day later, she like crash landed and like broke her leg and has had like 4 surgeries or something crazy now. So it's just, let me ask you about that, because obviously, Olympic athletes, they're like freaks, right? Like they're actual like psychopaths. That's how they've gotten to the level that they're at. And they have trained their entire life and one thing to be like the best in the world at it. And sometimes just like these very obscure things like I don't know, half pipe skiing or speed skating on ice or curling, right? Like these random things that like are not part of like normal daily entertainment. And like this is their time, right? Like this is their moment to try and shine and be on that stage. Do you think that it's irresponsible to do something like this? Like if you've got a torn ACL, is it irresponsible to go out there and ski instead of like trying to protect your body? Or is that just like, well, I know I'm never going to be here again, so I'm just going to say YOLO and we're going to see what happens. But now she's got like 4 broken bones or whatever, multiple broken bones, and had to have, I think, 4 surgeries, I read. What is your take on that? Because she's never going to go back to the Olympics. I think she was kind of like at the end of her career.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, like her leg suffered a lot of extra damage.
Well, given the context, I didn't know anything about, is how old she is and where she's at in her career. Is this, like you said, her last go around? Is she kind of trying to go out with a bang? So knowing that, I mean, it makes a little bit more sense just from a context perspective. But number one, I have to say this because I'm not very familiar with skiing. I've actually skied myself one time. I think you were with me, and I was learning how to ski. So it was literally the first time I've ever skied. I have no idea how you ski with a torn ACL. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, skiing can be kind of tough on your knees, the way that you move. So I'm just like, how the hell did they have like a special brace or something for her? Because I mean, I imagine if you have a torn ACL, if you move it the wrong way, like it probably really hurts or, can be detrimental to your knee's health. But I didn't even know that it was possible to ski with a torn ACL. So number one, that was my shock. Is it responsible? I mean, it's up to her, I don't know what kind of pain she was in or not in. I don't know what doctors she, consulted. I don't know if they had special braces or something like that to help. I mean, if all those things were checked out or were checked, the boxes of like, yeah, you can try. If it's your last Olympics, why not? I don't know.
Yeah. So get this. This is her. I knew that she had some injury history. I had seen an advertisement about her specifically, and the timing was awkward because I saw it after she had this injury, but it was talking about all the injuries that she's had and like overcome to get to the Olympics and to take that, to be able to be in this Olympics.
Yeah.
I'm just going to speed run this because it's crazy, but here's her history of injuries. Okay. This one's simple. February 2006 was a bruised hip, 2007 ACL sprain, 2009 lacerated right thumb. That's kind of crazy. Another 2009 bruised forearm, whatever. broken right pinky in 2010, a concussion in 2011, in 2013, torn ACL, MCL, and a tibial plateau fracture. Later in 2013, which this is crazy, it was only like 6 months later, broken left ankle. And so, like, after she tore a bunch of stuff in her knee, she came back and broke her ankle. Sound familiar? 16, 3 years later, fractures in her left knee. 16, 9 months after that, fractured humerus bone in her arm. It keeps going on and on. Completely torn LCL, partial knee replacement in 2024. Wow. Yeah, so just 2 years ago, partial knee replacement. And then she tore her ACL last month in January, and then participated in the Olympics, and then fractured her tibia. So, like, it's just like, whoa, that is so much. Like, and she's still to this day is immobile. Like, since her injury, she's not walking yet. She's not able to like put weight on anything, like, which makes sense, right? She has a torn ACL and a broken, tibia. But like, that's where I'm like, is this responsible? Like, you can't walk now. Like, you can't put weight on this. It's been like over a week. Like, what are we doing?
Well, I mean, the moral of the story for me is skiing is dangerous.
Yeah.
Especially at that level, right? If you're training, I'd imagine a lot of those injuries are from skiing and falling, or
Yeah. Well, and like I said, this was going to be her last go. She's 41 years old, right? So like which is also crazy at 41 years old to be skiing with a torn ACL. Yeah. But she did it, and to be fair, she did have at least one successful run, even with the torn ACL. But yeah, just a crazy story, man. Just absolutely nuts.
I mean, it's not as, well, it is more crazy, but it's maybe not as crazy as the old Canadian cheating stories.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so curling. First of all, can we just shout out curling, because I've watched this for every Olympics that I can remember, and I still have no idea what the hell is actually happening in curling, other than they're trying to like keep their kettle. It's like playing shuffleboard, but like there's a bunch of other stuff that happens. The Swiffer wiping is hilarious to me. I freaking love the technique. I love how they yell out and like strategize to each other. But the thing I've always found the most fascinating is when they go down and do the little slide and then like gently release the kettle or the rock or whatever they call it.
Yep.
And obviously what you're referring to is the Canadian team, the Canadian men's team, apparently actually have a history of this. Like there's been people that have complained about this before, but when they let go of the kettle, then they double touch it, where they like touch it again. And it's been a very controversial topic, because it sounds like they did this, and there's clear video of them touching it a second time against Sweden in the Olympics. And then Sweden like starts yelling at them and calling them out, and then they start yelling back. And it's like this like verbal argument. Which, first of all, like what is happening? We're just watching curling, and now these men are yelling at each other. But I don't actually know conclusively like what the ruling is. I've seen stuff all over the internet, but I don't know what's true or fake when it comes to curling. It sounds like you actually can double touch it if it's like behind a certain line, and now people are arguing about whether or not it was behind the line. So either way, just like, what the hell? Like, this is the news in the Olympics this year, is Canada double touched the rock or the kettle in curling.
Yeah.
And I don't even know who won the match. I literally don't even know who won. I just know that they were mad about him double touching it.
I'll tell you my version of what happened here. Okay. I'm gonna make it a little more entertaining than what's on X.
Please do. Yeah, please do.
Okay, so we get to the Winter Olympics. The Canadians are mad, of course. They don't want to become the 51st state, but low key they kind of do. Like low key, they're like, yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool. They're our neighbors. We could have citizenship. We can just go wherever. We don't have to have a passport. So they had to, resort to this. And I'm sure it probably doesn't help that the Swedes, they have probably, I'm guessing they have a lot of nicotine pouches that they're just not willing to share with the Canadians, because that's just how they are.
Okay.
And,
of course.
I don't know if you knew this, Scott, but in Canada, nicotine is actually, you have to go behind the counter to a pharmacy to get to actually get some. It's
like Sudafed.
Yeah, it's not available over the counter, if that makes sense. It's considered like a smoking cessation product. So
interesting.
The Canadians are pissed because they want their Zins, they want their, they want their hit, and the Swedes had some, and they just got into an argument. That's what I think actually happened in the Olympics, though.
You know what? Who am I to discredit that theory? I agree with you.
Well, you don't have to discredit that, but what you can discredit is, why are the Dolphins releasing Tyreek Hill?
Oh, that was obviously going to happen. Tyreek Hill hated being on the Dolphins. I was surprised they didn't try and trade him last year. I forget if there was a cap situation or what was going on, but
yeah,
I don't know if you remember when he like completely destroyed his knee and had that injury. He was like literally like laughing and clapping, and I think it was because he was like happy that he didn't have to play for the Dolphins anymore. And
yeah,
just a weird thing, right? Because they were so good not that long ago, and he was electric. I mean, he was one of the top receivers in the league for a few years there. But I think that he completely hated playing with Tua. I don't think he respected the organization. I think he felt let down by them, and he's also like actually kind of certifiable. Like he's kind of crazy too. And so it just clearly wasn't a nice marriage there between player and team. And it was pretty vocally obvious. And I don't think the team was happy with him. And he certainly wasn't happy with them. The real question is, where the hell do we go from here? Because I don't think that Tyreek Hill is done. I don't know if he's going to have the same juice that he has had. He was already looking slower last season, and then he had that bad injury. But where do we go from here? Like, is he going back to the Chiefs? Is he going to go to a team like the Bills that could really use a wide receiver? Like, where does Tyreek Hill go, D? What do you think?
Well, there's three things that I think of when I think of Tyreek Hill. Number one is the injury, because it was pretty gruesome. It happened this past year, and I remember watching the video. And number one, it was a disgusting injury, like when his leg broke or whatever it was, his knee, blah, blah, blah. And then, it was super awkward, his reaction, because I remember seeing a video of someone posting saying he's so happy. And I was like, this is really, really weird.
Yeah,
like
super weird.
I don't know that I would ever celebrate an injury. That's like, don't get me wrong, he probably has some, whatever.
He's crazy. Yeah, we can call it what it is.
He's crazy. He's in shock, whatever. But like, that was odd. That's the first thing I think of when I think of Tyreek Hill. The second thing I think of is the video when he got like arrested or whatever.
Well, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Yeah.
That was so random.
That was so weird.
For whatever reason, that's the second thing I think of. And then the third thing I think of, and I can't remember if this actually happened or not, but wasn't he supposed to race a cheetah?
I think that was something that they talked about. I don't know if they were ever serious about that.
We'll have to double check that if he actually ever raced like because his nickname's the cheetah. But I feel like there was always rumors that like he was going to actually race a cheetah, and I was like, he definitely will lose. So,
it'd be interesting if he went to like the Raiders, and if they drafted Mendoza, and then they suddenly have Tyreek Hill and they have Bowers and Ashton Genty. Like they still don't have an offensive line in this scenario, but they would have like a full cohort of weapons.
Can't tell if he's not. I mean, obviously he didn't want to play in Miami, weird situation with the quarterback, but I can't tell if he's done or not. Like, you know what I mean? How sometimes people just get to a point in their career where they're just not going to be. I mean, obviously he's not going to be like as good as he was in his prime, but I don't know if this injury will. I mean, he was a pretty bad injury, and sometimes
it was
don't really recover
too. Yeah, dislocation with a tear is kind of crazy.
So.
And speed is his game, right? So, like, if he's slower, that's going to really hurt him.
That's what I'm saying. So that's where I was like, I mean, he could go anywhere, honestly, but I'm more curious as if he will even be good anymore. Well, I don't know.
I would be shocked if he was as good as he's been in the past, but I do still think he could have some juice left. He might not be Tyreek Hill that we're used to, but I think he could still have, an 1,000-yard, 8-touchdown season or something like that in front of him.
Yeah. It's understandable.
Going back home to play with Patrick Mahomes with Rashee Rice once again facing some legal troubles, and you just never really know what's going on with that team. So who knows?
I think he's done with Kansas City, though. If they were still, let me rephrase this. If they were still relevant this last year, he might go there. But since they had a drop off, I don't know if he wants to get into that. He'd probably rather go to like I don't know, some team that's pretty good already, I'd imagine, or a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, the Bills will take him for a discount price.
A discount. He's on clearance.
I mean, he should be. I mean, he just completely destroyed his knee, and he wasn't playing well before that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. Teams get desperate when they want some star power, and they'll probably still pay him a lot.
Where do you think he goes in the fantasy draft next year? Like what round?
4th. I think he's a 4th-round pick.
Really? You still think he's that viable?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, wide receivers and running backs are like the majority of the picks in the first 4 rounds. And so by the 40th pick, between like picks, let's say 40 and 50, I think he might be in that area, because historically he would have been like in the 20 or 30 range, I think, maybe even earlier in some seasons. So
yeah, it would be interesting to see, like, number one, where he goes, number two, if he's viable.
I guess that will also dictate how viable he is for fantasy football, is what team he ends up on.
Right, because if he's on like a Seahawks or somebody who's already kind of loaded at wide receiver, it's like, is he going to go that high? Or
Send him out to San Francisco, and holy cow, that might be a squad.
Hope they can stay healthy. That's
true.
He might get injured if he goes there.
Yeah, their practice facility. Yeah, it's over. What is the deal? It's like an electromagnetic factory or something. That's like that's the rumor or whatever. That's why they're all injured.
Idea.
Apparently that rumor goes back like a long time. Like that's not like a new thing this year. People have had concerns about that factory for like a really long time, apparently. And
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, basically that there's a theory that that's why so many 49ers get injured is because they have like their practice facility is right outside of this. Let me see what it's called.
It's like a actual, like, it has nothing to do with their team. It's like something in the area.
Yeah, there's it's like low frequency electromagnetic fields from a power station that's like across the street from their practice facility. And so and John Lynch even came out and said that they're looking into everything, including that theory, because of all the injuries, because that team has had tons of injuries for many years. This was not just like just this season.
Yeah, it is very weird. I mean, when it's like a trend on your team, you're like, is it the turf? Is this, something we're in our diet? Like, is it the homeless people? Who knows?
Yeah, is it all the shit on Hyde Street? I don't know if it still looks that way, but holy cow, there was a lot of human feces on the ground in San Francisco when we were there.
Wow, I just remember you talking about that the other day.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Okay, I've been to a lot of places in my life. San Francisco was the worst. That's it. That's the tweet.
Oh gosh. Well, we're talking about California, and speaking of California, there was a golf event out in California this past weekend, which I don't know about you, Scott, but my freaking fantasy lineup for DraftKings got flipped upside down from Saturday to Sunday because of just all the crazy shit that happened from day 3 or round 3 to round 4, excuse me. I was in like 8th at one point, sitting pretty good. Like at one point I had one of the guys was tied for first and another was like in like 4th or something. And then by the end of round 4, I was like 39th all of a sudden. And I was like, really?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I got 45th out of 57 people. And honestly, I was pretty much in the 30s and 40s the entire event. There was one point in time where I was actually 50th place, and I was like, bro, come on, not 50s. Get me back at least into the 40s. Yeah, I ended up 45th, though. Just, it's a weird way to play. Whenever I started this last year, I was so pumped for this event because there was no cut, and I knew I was going to have 6 players playing golf all weekend. But now that I have a year of doing the daily fantasy for golf, it actually felt really weird because normally if you have a good first couple of days, you're going to get like a boost knowing that like all or most of your guys are playing, whereas other people are going to have people that were cut. But this weekend, it was like, well, shit, I am already in like 40th place and there's no chance of me passing anybody because they all have all 6 of their golfers too. And so there was really no benefit to having people that were in the top half other than just having more points. So yeah, I sucked this weekend. There's really no other way to say it. I think I put in our group text before the event even started that I didn't put a ton of thought into it. And I'm glad I said that before the event because now I can just say that when in reality, that was part of it. But I just sucked this week. I got my ass whooped.
Listen, whenever I put thought into it or I don't, it doesn't matter, man. It's like you just put in a lineup and pray is how it feels. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's statistics and stuff, but I'm telling you, I mean, it's like you put in lineups and you just never know what's going to happen. Like, I mean, I thought going into round 4, I felt pretty good. And then I was like, after round 4, it was like, okay, I guess somehow, like Colin Morikawa comes out of nowhere and wins. And Scottie Scheffler has like the craziest 4th round we've ever seen in a while. And I don't know, man. Speaking of Scottie, I did have a question for you that came up today when I was talking to Tim when we were both at the gym working out. He asked me a question because he's in our league now too. I don't know if you knew that, but he asked me. He was like, "Why is Scottie always like so expensive? Like he's like always like $14K, and it takes up a ton. It's almost like picking like 2 players just to pick him." And obviously, we know like generally why, because he's playing so well, and he's the number 1 player. Whenever he plays, he's always in contention. But the question that came up during our discussion at the gym was if we could rewind and go back to when Tiger was in his prime and there was DraftKings, what do you think he would be priced at on a weekly basis?
I would have to guess it at least 15,000 because I think he would actually be priced higher than what Scottie is, and Scottie's usually running like 14.5. it can't go much higher than that because you can't field a team if you do. But I mean, Tiger was on such a tear, and obviously Scottie is kind of mimicking that, but I don't think he's quite to the same level yet of the run that Tiger went on. So I would think you'd be even more. I think you'd be like 15K.
Yeah, I mean, I was trying to do the math of like what's the highest number possible to still make a team and pick 5 other guys with the 50K that they allocate, with him being, I don't know what it, I mean, it'd probably have to be 15, 16, something like that. So like something crazy where it's like, if you pick him, you're going to literally guaranteed have 2 or 3 guys miss the cut every week because you're picking like the absolute, you're picking like me on your team.
It's like you're picking Scottie and a prayer. That's it, right? Like I have literally never chosen Scottie in our daily fantasy because I would rather have a good chance of 6 people making the cut and maybe not have the guy who gets first place overall than have the guy who gets first place overall and only having like 2 or 3 people make the cut.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, though. I don't know if you noticed, but not a lot of people pick him in our league because of that. Like, it's not actually a smart strategy because he costs so much that you're risking.
If he doesn't get first place, then it's like impossible for you to win when you spend that much money. And even if he does get first place, you still might not win when you spend that much money on him. So
yeah, you got to have like a Hail Mary 5,000 or 6,000 K person that like, plays out of their mind or, is like at least makes the cut, I guess. So kind of another random, I think, thing that I saw online this past week. But did you see that Mike Tyson is fighting Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition fight in Africa?
I wish I didn't, but yes, I did.
What do you think of that? I mean, obviously we're in the world of gimmick boxing to an extent, but that's like such a random matchup.
Well, here's the issue, right? This is the issue. You got 2 guys who have made a shit ton of money in their careers that have also spent a shit ton of money in their careers. And the way that they make money is by boxing. And they know it's a big draw. It's going to be a big purse. And they don't give a shit about the actual boxing aspect of it. This is just a payday for them. Because if they actually cared about respecting the sport of boxing, respecting their legacies and their careers, they wouldn't be stepping back into the ring. And if they were going to do that, it wouldn't be against each other. This doesn't make any sense at all. This is just them trying to grab some money. It will be a boring fight. People will still watch it anyway, because let's see what happens. It's going to suck ass. Everyone's going to complain about it, but yet they're still going to be making hella money because people still tune in and watch these things, even though they've happened how many times now?
Yeah. I mean, do you think it's any different than like the Jake Paul fights, or is it along the same lines of like gimmicky like that?
I think it's along the same lines, but I think the difference here is that Jake Paul is still like in a boxing form and sometimes fights actual boxers. I do think it's along the same lines as when Jake Paul fought Mike Tyson, because again, like what the hell was that? But it's almost more insulting because Floyd Mayweather is like, he's undefeated. He's like arguably the best that's ever done it. And now here we are fighting. How old is Mike Tyson? He's like 50, 58, 59, something like that. Like, what are we doing? Like, at what point do you just wonder, like, is he just trying to die? He's 59 years old. Is he just trying to die in the ring? Is that what we're doing here? Because like boxing can be very dangerous, and this guy's about to be 60 years old. He's done a bunch of drugs in his life. I'm sure he's not living the most healthy life of all time, or at least he hasn't at periods. I don't know. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
And here I am, like I sound like an asshole, like I'm being really judgmental, but at the same time, like, what are we doing? How much money is being funneled into this when there are like actual like people living and building careers doing this, first of all, but also like real world problems that we could funnel some of this money into? But we're going to watch 2 washed old boxers have a fake fight that they're probably not even going to try hard in, and they're both going to walk away with like $100 million.
Yeah. Well, okay, let me ask you another question, though, because this is the interesting piece of this, I think. So as you can probably imagine with any athlete, you've probably heard Tom Brady say he could still play. I've heard athletes who are retired say they can still do it to an extent, like in their head, obviously. I think they know that they're not going to do it at the same level. But do you think that for boxers, like it's just ingrained in them where, you know what I mean? I imagine there has to be such a rush of that feeling of being in the ring, training, being on TV, like all the dopamine and stuff that comes with, the process. So do you also think it's kind of like a coping mechanism, at least, especially for, Tyson? Maybe Mayweather's not as old, but like, is it like a coping mechanism where it's like the guy that like, he truly does probably miss and love boxing, and he's just trying to kind of somehow stick with it? Or is it, I mean, obviously we know it's part the money, right? Like that's obvious. I think that's the most obvious, but do you think there's part of it that's also that?
Look at any boxing gym across America. And I used to box, and I can say this because I've been in these gyms. They all have the old guys who still identify themselves as boxers and are still there, but they're either there getting in good workouts and some light sparring, or they're the coaches. They're not out trying to put on main event $100 million fights because it's ludicrous. It's an insult to the sport and to all the money that these athletes make when you don't actually have top tier athletes anymore that are taking all this money away instead of paying athletes who are actually at the top of the sport. It's a clown show. And I can empathize that Floyd Mayweather, his whole identity is probably boxer. He's a 50-0 boxer. He hasn't had a fight, I don't think, since he fought Conor McGregor back in 2017. So it's been like 9 years of him not doing what he identifies with himself as. But also, like, fighting Mike Tyson is not the answer for that. Like, if you want to get back in and see if you still got it, don't go fight a 60-year-old washed up man who just lost to fucking Jake Paul. Like, what are we doing?
Well, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, the weight difference is also kind of awkward, right? Like one's a heavyweight, one, I don't even know what Floyd Mayweather, but he's clearly not a heavyweight. So that's also kind of awkward where it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I'll be curious to see if the fight actually happens or if there's this weird, like someone pulls out or something weird.
I'll be curious to see if the fight actually happens. Are we going to see Mike Tyson's ass again? Because what was that? Like, again, just very gimmicky. Like, what are we doing here? You're just interviewing this dude with his whole ass out, and then he just walks away and you keep the camera on it? Like, what? Like, who made the decision for that? And what is this production team doing?
That was on purpose. They needed something to post later on social media,
I suppose.
I mean, but speaking of fighting, you know, we're talking on kind of that topic. There's apparently, is it Ronda Rousey that's coming back as well? I mean, what's up with all these retired fighters coming back?
Yep. Ronda Rousey returning to MMA against Gina Carano, who is returning to MMA. Gina's last fight was in 2009.
Oh, really?
Looking up right now, Ronda Rousey's was in 16. So 10 years for her and 17 years for Gina Carano. Gina Carano has been out doing like acting. She was one of the actresses on The Mandalorian, you know, and it's just like, at least these two are like are still kind of like of the age where they can actually fight for real. But also when you've been away from it for that long, I'm really curious what they still have left in the tank. I think this is more of a legitimate, like, let's come back and see if we still got it, because they're not going and fighting 60-year-olds in the middle of nowhere in Africa. It still feels like a weird move. And since Netflix is hosting it, I'm sure there's a big cash grab here.
Mm-hmm.
It almost feels like, this could be just a cynic in me, but it almost feels like Netflix hosting this fight with Gina Carano in it is almost like a dig at Disney, because Disney fired Gina Carano because of some of her political stuff that she leans more like Republican, and there was some stuff I don't know that she like said or supported, and they fired her over it.
I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, that's why she like wasn't in the most recent season of The Mandalorian. They just never really talked about her character ever again.
I didn't hear any of that. I mean, I haven't watched. We watched the first couple seasons of Mandalorian, and I know who she is, but we didn't like watch the later season, so I guess I didn't really realize that. Huh.
Yeah, it was because of some social media post, which whatever, they have the right to do, honestly. But yeah, there's been like lawsuits and all this, and now all of a sudden Netflix is hosting her as this like main event fights. I think there's so much politics in all of entertainment, you know, and I think that potentially could play a part in this. But also, these are two celebrity fighters, just like what we were just talking about. Mayweather and Tyson are celebrity fighters, and so who knows?
So, do you know? Is it an actual UFC fight, or is it just a random, like, I don't even know? Like, do you know what is it?
It's not a UFC fight, and I was not really familiar with the organization hosting it.
So it's, I mean, that's what I was going to say. Like Netflix, I thought, you know, UFC was with Paramount and all this. That's why I was a little confused.
Yeah. Promoted by Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions, MVP. So Jake Paul's behind this. Yep. The world of fighting is a joke.
Nothing like two 40-year-old women fighting on Netflix.
Exactly. Yep.
Well, I don't know. Speaking of old people or older athletes, there was a historic thing that happened this past week, Scott, in NASCAR. And I don't know that you or I are are qualified to speak about NASCAR, but did you see that Michael Jordan's team for NASCAR won the Daytona 500?
Yes, but that's not the news that I've been seeing with Michael Jordan. And
Here
I
we
don't even know
go.
who the racer was. So again, we're taking away the eyes on the actual things that matter in the sport to a random ass video of Michael Jordan like fondling like a little kid's butt and like legs. And all I have to say about that is the GOAT debate is over. LeBron is the king.
Oh my gosh. I don't know any of the context. I saw the video and it was very odd. I will agree with you. Very, very random. But I will say this. I don't know any context and I haven't even followed up to see like what the hell was going on. You know what I mean? To be fair,
I understand that things are taken out of context sometimes, but I also don't know what context would make that normal. I don't think there is any.
Right. But what I'm saying is sometimes people will post things that don't, it definitely looks a certain way because it's like a 3-second clip or whatever, a 5-second clip. And you don't really know, what the hell, what is going on here? You know what I mean? Is this like,
that's what I want to know.
Is this somebody he knows? Is it like the child of the driver? Like, I mean, I have no idea. Don't get me wrong. Very awkward clip. So I'm not saying that it's acceptable by any means. That's not what I'm saying that I'm curious to learn more as to what the hell was actually going on.
Yeah. Well, like you, I have not looked up additional details because I'm just kind of over weird shit happening in this world and trying to make sense of it. So
Yep.
maybe I'm getting old and bitter, but that one can just be something that I have seen at once, and that's good enough.
That's fair. Well, we'll get to the bottom of this just to make sure. So, I mean, I don't think he's on the Epstein list from what but it's a lot of pages. So
yeah, I haven't heard anything about it. Not qualified to comment on it.
But well, one thing I think you are qualified to comment on though is the story of Anthony Kim. Let's go back to golf because that's actually a really cool golf story that I know you had mentioned to me that it was something that Andrew, who's been on the podcast, brought up. And I'm familiar with Anthony Kim. I knew who he was very, like when he wasn't, kind of one of the breakout stars back when Tiger was playing. But he just like disappeared. And so honestly, I didn't really keep up with anything. Like I didn't even know. I knew he was back and live, but I had no idea what had happened to him. I just was like, he was a golfer and then he disappeared. And that's all.
Yeah. So I had never heard of Anthony Kim. I'm going to preface it with that. And Andrew, as you said, called me today. We were talking and he said, you got to talk about Anthony Kim on the podcast tonight. And I said, okay, we can do that. Who the hell is Anthony Kim? So that's how this started. Again, I don't have a past history of watching a lot of golf, but I've been watching a lot lately, but not really live. So he told me a little bit of the story of Anthony Kim, and then I went and looked up some details, and this is what I got here, Deeb. So tell me if this sounds right. But Anthony Kim, he was a breakout star, I think in like the mid 2000s, I read. Maybe like 2006 was when he made his debut in PGA and was immediately looked like just phenomenal. Got like Tiger Woods-esque comparisons. People said that he looked like he was going to be the future of the sport. Everyone thought he would be like the man eventually. And then I think it was in 2010, he tore his Achilles and had to have surgery on it. And it sounds like then got addicted to drugs and alcohol and then just straight up disappeared. No one saw him for over a decade. Like he was just gone for more than 10 years. Yep. I read there's some theories about this, like it might have been the addiction. There's some theories that maybe he cashed out some sort of an insurance policy on if he ever had like a career-ending injury that he could get like an X amount of money, but that if he ever played again, then he would have to pay back that money. There's all these theories out there, and I don't know what's true. But basically, he just disappeared. No one knew what the hell happened to him, and everyone kind of considered it like the ultimate what if. Like, what if he played for the last 10 years? Like, how good would he have been? And so from my understanding, he returned to golf a year or two ago, and he's been playing with Liv and not having a ton of success. And from what Andrew told me, he was playing in this tournament that like basically you had to do well in or you got demoted to where you weren't going to be like in the main league anymore. And he won the demotion tournament. And then this past weekend, he played at the Adelaide, which I guess is like the biggest Australia event that they host and live. And he played phenomenal there. And he won the event. He beat John Rahm on Sunday. I think he shot a 63. And all of a sudden, like, this guy who just disappeared off the face of the earth now has a big notable win. And it's, again, bringing up the whole what if question. Like, what if he hadn't been gone for the last now 16 years or whatever? And I think the crazy story is that there's the Live PGA thing. They've got their rivalry, and the PGA announcers, like during the PGA event this weekend, actually gave a shout out to Anthony Kim for his like comeback and how he won. So just kind of crazy stuff there. Like I said, I had never heard the story, but it sounds like a pretty phenomenal story about someone kind of taking a long time to overcome addiction, to get their life back in order, to try and return to the sport where they were going to be like the next big thing, and then finally like overcome the hurdles and have some success. So just I think a really cool story. I don't know much about him, but I'll be kind of trying to follow along with his journey, because I mean, what else can you ask for in sports? It's like the ultimate redemption story right here.
Yeah, I mean, very, very interesting. Like I said, I saw that he came back, but I don't watch Live because it's just like, number one, not really televised, and tried to watch a few in the past, and it was just like, I don't know, it was weird. Like it didn't feel like you were watching golf, so it was kind of awkward. So I haven't really followed too much of his comeback and all that kind of stuff, but I know that, yeah, I mean, it's definitely made a ton of headlines. So definitely a really cool story. There's it's funny because if you look up like older pictures of him when he was younger and his hair was shorter, he kind of looks like Tom Kim.
I could see that. I mean, I don't obviously I don't know him well, but I've looked up some stuff and I could kind of see that with some of these pictures.
So I'm gonna make you hopefully laugh here. Okay, so a long time ago, he looked like Tom Kim a little bit when he was younger. Now he kind of looks like a villain. Like, I don't know if he has had some sort of issues or something, but his like face looks almost kind of looks like a little like deformed. I don't know how to explain
Yeah.
it, but if you've seen him, like it's like something weird about, and I don't know if this has to do with his addiction or what, something like that. But have you ever seen the movie Mortal Kombat?
A long time ago. I wouldn't probably understand what your what your reference is going to be.
So there's a guy in that movie named Shang Tsung. He's like he's one of the main antagonist guys. And he looks like him now because of his long hair. Like the hairdo.
The hairdo does kind of scream like movie villain. Like I feel like Hollywood has kind of coined this type of a haircut as like a villain type of a haircut.
I just sent you the picture in Discord to take a look. But if anyone's out there, look up Shang Tsung. It's like Tsung. And also look up Anthony Kim, and I feel like I don't know, he gives me that vibe. Like he's like this weird villain guy. So I don't know. I don't think he looks exactly like him, but just his demeanor, like the hair and just like how he I don't know, he kind of reminds me of like a villain. It's weird.
Yeah, I'm just gonna have to keep I'm gonna have to keep studying about this, because this is just such a crazy story that a guy just disappeared for that long and then just came back and just started. I don't think it was right away. Obviously, he was like facing demotion, but now all of a sudden is like seeing success for the first time in I don't know, 15, 20 years, it sounds like.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, good comeback story, I feel like people always like a nice comeback story. And, some people would say that about Tyson and Mayweather, but not Scott, comeback story.
No, because at least he's playing against like John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau. He's not playing against, I don't know, who's a 80-year-old golfer right now.
Jack Nicklaus.
Yes, him. And I don't know.
Gary Player. He's not playing against Gary Players.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Hey, I mean, Gary Player can still swing the rock. So we do have a couple picks we want to do for the upcoming Riviera Genesis Invitational for the PGA Tour. We're going to do it, I think, similar to what we did last week. I think that was fun to do. One in the top 10, one to make the cut, one to miss the cut, and who you think is the outright winner for this. Let's start with one in the top 10. And, just kind of for some reference, the Genesis is a really... It's an iconic PGA Tour event because Tiger Woods is the host. So, Tiger actually usually, last year they didn't have it because of the Los Angeles fires. So they had to cancel it. And one of the years he was injured or something. So I don't think he can make it. But usually he gives you like the trophy or shakes your hand or whatever, like at the end of whoever's the winners. This year it is I think it's all, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is a signature event as well. 72 players, and they there is a cut apparently.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Smaller field than usual, huh?
Yep. Smaller field and a cut. So who do you got for one person you think will make the top 10?
I'm gonna try not to go with like an obvious choice here, because I think there's plenty of those. But a guy who I don't think has found his legs yet this year, and I don't know how many events he's actually been in. But I'm gonna go with Oberg. I think that's a safer pick than it should be. I'm looking at our fantasy draft lineup, and he's pretty far down. But I think he's he's gonna make it top 10.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like he's played very on and off. He was on for a while, and then it feels like he's kind of been off for a minute here. So I'm curious to see if he actually comes back and starts to play how he was in the past. For mine, for a top 10 player, I'm gonna give you a guy that not a lot of people maybe would even think of, Ryan Gerard.
Okay.
If you look up his statistics, he's been playing kind of lights out this past year so far. He's not really a name that comes up too much, not in like the top players. So I think he'll make the top 10 this week.
Okay, nice. That's I would have not said that name. So you're right.
What about one person you think will make the cut? And I think Scottie's off limits because we know he makes the cut.
I think a player I'll choose to make the cut is someone who got shit on a couple weeks ago when we had Andrew and Trent on here, and I'm going to say Ben Griffin's going to make the cut.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's fair. That's a good one. Mine is Russell Henley. That guy has been playing, number one, just overall pretty good, I think, from last year, and he tends to play pretty well here at this course from what I've seen for some of his history. So give me Russell to make the cut. What about miss the cut?
Justin Rose. I feel like he's been playing pretty good. And what last year taught me about Rose is that he's mostly good, but he has bad weeks. And I think he might be due.
Mine's going to be, I'm trying to pick one that's more controversial. That's why I'm looking through the list here. Because I don't want to pick one that's like, oh yeah, of course that guy's not going to make a cut. Give me Victor Hovland. That guy's been kind of struggling lately. I know he's one of the more well-known names, but yeah, I don't know. Something's off with him. So I don't know that he makes the cut this week. And then who do you got for outright winner if you got to pick one person?
Ooh, good question. Is it weird if I say Goddard up?
No.
I'm going to say Goddard. I really like Goddard. I just have a lot of faith in that guy right now. And I have for the second half of the whole last golf season. I was picking him a lot too. So give me Goddard, although I feel like this could be the weekend that Scottie finally wins again because he's been right there clawing back each of the last few weeks.
Yeah. I want to put my faith in a certain guy, but I don't want to say it out loud here because you know how it goes. Whenever I say it, sometimes the opposite happens. So
gosh, here we go.
Give me Jake Knapp to break through and finally get a win where he's been kind of teeter-tottering there, playing pretty well, but
he's been solid.
Yeah. Just he can't finish. He's been struggling on the last day. So I think he wants to shake Tiger's hand. So give me Knapp to win it all.
Okay, I saw something. Did someone ask Tiger today or yesterday if he would consider playing in the Masters this year, and he left the door open to potentially play in the Masters? Did you see that?
No.
I'll have to do some more research. Maybe I'm just spreading rumors on the podcast.
Wait, you said he didn't shut the door that he would play?
He didn't shut the door that he wouldn't. He made it sound like there was a possibility that he could potentially play at the Masters, but he didn't say that he would.
Oh, that's Tiger every year, though. If you've ever followed him, that's just the guy's competitiveness. He's never going to tell you until the week before. You know what I mean? You're not going to find out until right before because he wants everyone to be low key. Low key, even though he hasn't been playing well, he wants everybody to low key kind of be.
Everyone's always rooting for him to be the back. It's just a guarantee. Yeah. But anyway, something we can follow. Obviously, we're a couple months away, but man, that would be electric. Even if he didn't do good, it would just be sick to have him back.
What I think would be really cool for you, just because I know that you've gotten into golf more recently and watching, is one of these weekends or when not when you have downtime, because obviously I know we're both pretty busy, but when you have a little bit of time or you want to put something on in the background, similar to how you do with golf on the weekend, you should try to find, I'm sure they have it on YouTube, the 2019 Masters, and just try to watch Tiger. There's probably a version where you just watch Tiger play and just watch that year, because that's one of the craziest years of all time in Masters history, because he won it after not winning it in 10 years or some shit. And he came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? No one expected him to win. And he just comes out of nowhere, looks like he's and then just, I don't know. It's such a historic one to watch.
I found a 48 minute long video from the Masters YouTube page talking about it. So
yeah, that would be a really, really cool one to see, especially since I know you like the Masters.
Yeah, I wish we could go.
I mean, we'll get there one day.
One of these days.
But other than that, man, looking forward to watching some more golf. And I don't know, maybe I'll turn on some Olympics. We'll see what happens. It's kind of a weird time right now for sports, but
yeah. It's something we talked about a while back, but all the NHL players are actually playing in the Olympics again this year. And so there's been no NHL hockey for a few weeks. And, one of the reasons we talked about players not necessarily playing in the Olympics is because of the liability and risk of them getting hurt in the middle of the season. And there was a good player that like broke his leg and is now out for the rest of the season. So it's one of those things. But yeah, I mean, it's weird, man. We're in the heart of like basketball is, to me, this time of year, college basketball is heating up, but pro basketball is kind of like, in a couple of months, it's going to be interesting again. But right now we're kind of in that lull. Hockey is on a break and there's really not a lot else going on right now. So thankful that we do have some golf to talk about and, the random one-off things that pop up, and hope everyone's enjoying the Olympics. I've watched a bit of it. It's just tough to sit down and actually watch and consume Olympics because it's just on all the time and chasing after a almost 2-year-old most of my time. So,
well, and Olympics is one of those where you sometimes you have to pay attention, right? Because it can happen quickly. Some of the stuff, it's not like golf where it's like a whole day.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I don't know, but all right, man. Sounds good. Well, we'll catch you guys next week.
Hell yeah. If you guys like our picks, let us know, our golf picks. And if you hate them, let us know who you have instead. And we'll revisit this in a week.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.